Well, there's no segue going into this. I've been waiting for a segue, but
I tried, man.
you know, no segue going into this. You know, spooky season, all that stuff.
Spooky. We can make it spooky.
But we're gonna kick this
Chris,
off.
make a werewolf sound. Damn.
I love that you even have a Jack Skellington plaid shirt on.
Yeah, Zero. I got Jack on my back.
I know.
It's a huge thing at Jack.
That's why I said.
You got jacked on your back?
Yeah.
Yeah, he only
all day.
exclusively
Did
works
you get
out
it
back.
off?
He does rows all day.
Oh, that kind of Jack.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that kind of Jack. So, welcome back to Five's a Crowd. Hopefully, you guys are excited for spooky season.
Spooky season.
Oh, yeah,
'Cause
every
we
time.
are excited for spooky season.
Heck yeah.
I
I love Halloween.
Dude, I love Halloween.
Oh, do I? I tried buying. They had a exclusive Darth Vader outside Halloween, like guy 7 foot was all
Lightsaber-y?
animatronic lightsaber.
Nice.
Didn't get it, man.
I sent Tony one. It was like an 8 or 9 foot.
Jack?
Headless horseman.
Headless
Oh,
horseman.
ooh.
At
I saw
Home
that
Depot. It's freaking sick.
Yeah, that thing
The
is
plague doctor's cool. Did you see the plague doctor?
There's one over here in my neighborhood.
Oh man.
Dude, I
That's
drove by
awesome.
a house the other day, had like 3 or 4 of those giant skeletons.
Yes.
Oh yeah, those are cool too.
I wanted Darth Vader so bad.
I used
That
to have
would've
this
been awesome.
Darth Vader piggy bank that when you drop a coin in it, it'd activate him, and it was actual James Earl Jones, and it was
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it would like kind of rotate and stuff, and it was like
And he'd
his
kill a
breathing,
youngling.
and then he would say, what would he say? He was like, impressive, most impressive, but you are not a Jedi yet. And then his saber would go up and stuff. It was cool.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But that thing, you can put it out for Christmas
Shut
too. You
up.
just change out it. It has
Oh,
a Death Star Halloween bucket, and then he has a Death Star like ornament.
That's cool.
That's cool.
So if you guys see one at your local Home Depot, let me know.
I got
Okay.
you.
Daddy needs a bonus.
And with that, we'll introduce you to the
Oh, I
guys
thought you
around
said,
the-
and with that, we'll end it.
and we're done.
Fastest
That's all
plot
we
ever.
needed. Going to bed. I got with me Tony here tonight.
Hey,
Austin.
Hey.
Chris.
Hello.
Cam.
Hi.
And myself. And
Zacharoni.
yeah.
We're going to do spooky stuff.
So
We're coming into this blind, just so you
I'm
know.
so excited.
Yeah,
he
me
has
too.
a
No idea what's
book.
happening.
yes.
I can't tell you the last time I saw any of my friends with a piece of literature.
I got a
Going old school.
I got a book I went through. As you can see, it's got a lot of tags in it and everything. So
this is great.
we're gonna have some fun tonight.
I'm
So,
excited.
have you guys ever heard of the Zion Society cult?
No.
No.
We are gonna dive into a cult.
What?
Yes.
All right.
Is that
So-
hold on? Is that Oregon? Were they in Oregon? Okay, then I don't know.
Nope.
I'm
Is this
shocked
Utah? Zion down south?
Nope.
What?
No.
It's here in Utah though?
This was in North Ogden, Utah.
Oh my god.
Get out.
Dead serious.
What?
Oh,
excited.
I'm along for the ride.
Yes.
Sign me up.
North Ogden, Utah.
Sign me up. It's a cult.
Go for the ride.
That's what they want.
So, to give a quick background about it, this was a cult that was started roughly about 1980,
Okay.
and then it was pretty much brought down in about 1991. So, this book, I mean, I'll give a shout out. It's from the lead detective on Ogden City Police Department who actually wrote it. His name's Mike King.
Cool.
Okay.
Really cool. My dad knows him.
Okay,
Because
that's
he's
awesome.
worked with him and all that stuff. But anyways, I
Show him the book. It's
saw
called
this.
It's called Deceived,
Yeah,
by
Deceived.
Michael King.
So if you're interested, go on. I think it's on Amazon. You can get it anywhere. But it talks about this cult. It's actually a really good read.
Do you like it?
Yeah,
I didn't
really good
know
read.
you
It
read.
goes into depth about stuff. Normally I don't, but
Did you actually read that?
yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud.
Yeah.
Man.
All the pictures and everything.
Yeah, there is some pictures in here, so you know.
Gives you something to look forward to.
So
What's that joke? He's like, Nate Bargatze. He's like, I wish they would just give you like a blank page Just like catch your breath.
Oh yeah,
'Cause every book is the most words ever.
it's so true.
So to kind of go on this, so he starts off, and this is how I'll start off because it's very interesting. So it starts off with him in his office, and he gets a phone call to go down and talk to a girl. And literally, the girl starts out, she goes, "My name is Erin Anderson." She goes, "Basically, I need to talk to someone about a cult I've been a member of that is sexually abusing children. Oh my God. Do you have time to talk to me?" That's how she starts it off. And he's
I'm
like,
booked.
"What?" I guess I should have forewarned first. I won't go into depth on that. Like, it doesn't go into depth on that, but that
Sensitive
is,
material.
yes, it is sensitive, especially if you do read the book and stuff. It can come across, very sensitive. So, but it doesn't go into
Okay.
depth about anything, but
Is this episode NSFW?
It's a great
not
area.
really. It's a very gray area. Like I said, it doesn't go into depth, and even if it did, like, I really tried to stay away from that portion of it all.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, because I don't even want to get into that portion.
Yeah.
There's lines I will draw.
Which ones?
So,
Are they straight?
sometimes.
Straight lines.
So, all right. So this guy who is over it, his name is Arvin Shreeve. So Arvin Shreeve.
He was the lead detective.
No,
Oh,
he was the guy over the
Oh,
cult.
he was the cult leader.
Yes, he was
Ah,
Sounds like
leader.
a tool.
So
that's a sheave.
Shreeve.
born in
It's a shiv.
Shiv.
Oh,
Should be shivved.
Sorry.
He should have been Shiv. A sheave?
It's a last name.
It's a tool.
You're thinking of a sheath?
maybe.
Holds a sword?
Maybe that's it.
Knife sheath.
A sheave.
I don't know.
Now you got me
Moving
double
on.
thinking that. Pull up the word sheave.
Sheath?
Sheave.
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 Are you thinking Civ?
S-H-I.
SHEEVE?
I don't know.
I thought it'd be
Sheath?
That's just a name.
I don't know.
It's a noun. See sheave. Spelled with an E-A-V-E. Okay, let's see that one.
We're getting a word.
A wheel? It's
Wait,
a,
wait, pause. Word of the day.
sheave. Sheave. It's a noun. First meaning is a wheel having a groove in the rim for a rope to work in and set in a block, mast, or the like, the wheel of a pulley. Number 2, a channel cut in a mast, yard, rail, or other timber in which to fix a sheave.
Tie the sheaves. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the word you guys thought of?
No.
I didn't think so.
I was thinking shiv,
Shiv.
but yeah. Okay.
'Kay.
Moving on.
All right.
Shank.
So Arvin, he was born in Ogden, 1930.
Hate him already.
Yeah,
Yeah, douchebag.
yes.
Douchebag number one.
So he grew up. As he grew up, he was very neat, very clean cut, very cleanly, like just
OCD.
yes, very OCD, very reserved about himself. He once confined to a friend that he had been actually sexually assaulted by his aunt several times as he was a kid. Adding to the fact, though, that he actually enjoyed the encounters. So, and that's why he never turned his aunt in, because he was all for it.
Gosh.
Was she hot?
Maybe.
I knew Chris.
Somebody was going to say it.
It wasn't going to be me.
It was 100% going to be Chris.
We'll answer the question.
I haven't seen a picture of her, so I can't
He may
tell
be
ya.
the one to ask, but we're all curious.
You know? God.
It would be like that South Park episode. Nice.
Nice.
Okay, going on.
So, Arvin's family eventually moved away from the main central Ogden to a small suburb of Ogden, where he attended Weber High School. As basically an excellent student, he blossomed in high school debate classes. He developed his natural persuasive ability and would use it to manipulate those around him, eventually winning the coveted position of student body president.
Oh my God.
He had the uncanny ability to garner respect from the students wherever he spoke. He also served on the Latter-day Saints Seminary Council at the school. Following graduation, he attended Weber College in Ogden, where he excelled in debate again. He would take second place in competition at the school with his topic resolved, that the federal government should provide a complete system of medical care available to all citizens at public expense. I might agree with that, actually. But, well, not at public expense. Anyways.
Well, it's got to come from.
Yeah, it's got to come from somewhere, yes.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyways, basically, like most people who grew up in Utah around that, age, 1950, 1960, he was raised in a religious family and worshiped in the local unit of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Religion was the center of his family's life, everything, keeping up traditions. He actually served a full-time mission. He served in Brazil and Uruguay for 3 years.
3.
Yeah. Back then it was 3 years.
Oh.
Yeah. So upon coming home, he was actually married in September 1953. And within a few months of marrying, he found employment in the county and city parks department, where he worked faithfully until his retirement. He is credited with the designing many of the beautiful parks and gardens around Ogden City, and was well known in the community as a talented creative landscaper. And it was basically a standing joke that Arvin could make dirt turn green. So that comes into play a little bit later on. So kind of wanted to go over that.
Fertilizer?
I was going to say, ooh, I don't know if I want to know.
I kept my mouth shut.
Why?
I'm good at it. Not.
You're good at what?
Nothing.
Oh.
Turning turk green.
No.
So eventually, I mean, everybody knows when it comes to the LDS Church, the biggest thing is what? Plural marriages.
Oh,
That
yeah,
we like,
polygamy.
Yeah, that we like to give a lot of crap about.
Shouldn't you guys have multiple wives by now?
I do.
Oh.
Which one's Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday Adams.
So they're named.
I just call her Wednesday.
It's like from Grind. Hey, Tuesday. It's Stacy. I know.
Yeah, I'll call you Tuesday.
I love that movie.
Apparently, I need to rewatch this show. You guys
So
I love that
So
movie.
You
good.
guys quote it a lot.
Jelly, 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 jelly.
Chuck, Bo Buck.
Banana.
You're drunk.
What the heck?
I love that movie so much.
I'm watching it tomorrow. I gotta get caught up.
All right,
Such a
sorry.
good movie. Anyway, so he kind of dived deep into the whole plural marriage thing and started studying on it. So, of course, back then, once practiced by some in the Latter-day Saints Church, it was not legal at the time, nor is it now, nor as it has been for a very long time in Utah. He studied it extensively and felt that he should actually educate others in the practice. By doing so, though, it crosses a line with the LDS Church. Mm-hmm. And at that point, when you're talking to people about it and you're studying about it and you're telling people to worship it, blah, 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 it can get you in trouble. Eventually, the bishop of his church got in front of him and said, hey, what's going on? Started talking to him about it. Arvin actually boldly, during the interview with the bishop, declared that he received a revelation from God about the ancient practice and that he had been instructed by God to reinstitute it in a specialized form.
What's a
Ew.
specialized
Okay.
form?
I don't like how that sounds.
Basically, to reinstitute, I'll get into that specialized form. So he
Okay.
basically felt by God, and so the bishop was like, absolutely not. So you got to make a choice now. It's either stop or we're going to have to excommunicate you from the church.
Excommunicado.
That's what I was just.
No more room at this hotel for you, bud.
He got a little scared, eventually complied with the bishop and said, you're right, I'm sorry, I'll stop. But that was just words to make him feel better about himself, make everybody feel better about the situation. Eventually, what had happened, though, is so he was teaching Sunday school lessons, but during the weekdays and stuff, he was actually out in Salt Lake soliciting sex workers. One of them who actually came forward was a woman by the name of Melanie. She came out and said that he was so kind and gentle and reminded me of a bad Mr. Rogers figure. He was
Wait,
not.
so he was hiring prostitutes to come be part of this cult?
No, he was just out in Salt Lake. So he's devout LDS,
Oh, okay.
doing all this stuff, but then he's out in Salt Lake going with prostitutes as he's married and all this other stuff.
okay.
Oh,
So, but this is what ultimately got him in trouble in the first place, is because she actually came forward, this lady named Melanie. So, but she said he was not profane or never swore. He had a soft, gentle voice and appeared to always have a happy smirk on his face.
Gross. During the act,
Hey,
I just picture this smile. Oh darn! Oh, like just
Giggity goo.
Gee, dang it.
gosh darn it.
oh butter. Yeah.
Butter.
So,
Goo.
so at one point though, Arvin, he, in his works with Melanie, he basically starts to make arrangements to start having sex with younger girls. She applied on one occasion and set him up with a 16-year-old runaway who was turning tricks to make ends meet. On another occasion, he asked if he could be with her young daughter, and when she refused, he asked, how about some 14-year-old girls? One of those...
I want to kill him myself.
Yeah.
right now.
One of Arvin's secret meetings with Melanie resulted in an arrest by the Salt Lake City Police Department Vice Squad. Here's the sad part, though. So he gets in trouble with the police, all this stuff. He goes home, and Arvin excused his actions by telling his wife, Alice, God has instructed me to experiment with the prostitutes. I don't want to do this, but I cannot offend God. So his wife said,
Holy crap.
I know a
okay.
guy like that.
Who?
Nobody. Just
Do you-
go.
do
Just
you
go.
really?
Just go.
Oh, all right, just going. All right, going.
Gosh.
So eventually, I mean, he gets in all this trouble, gets in front of the bishopric, goes up to these councils. He gets excommunicated from the LDS Church. At that point, he gets excommunicated. It says here, Arvin, at that point in the same meeting, announced that he didn't believe in Jesus Christ or the church that he belonged to all his life. The leaders had no choice but to excommunicate him. He angrily stormed out of the meeting and went to make plans for his own religion. So that goes into the next part, which is basically, so he goes in, he starts his own religion, which is this Zion Society.
Oh, Zion Society.
Yes,
Okay.
the Zion Society. So,
It's crazy that this is in North Ogden.
right?
I don't know what it is, but whenever I hear of things that happen in Utah, it's just weird. Like it just feels
Especially when it's in,
Icky.
well, it's
yeah.
There's some weird stuff that happens in Utah, though.
There is.
just wait.
Okay.
It gets even weirder.
Oh, fun.
Oh,
It
gosh.
does.
Butter.
So he spent years after that conjuring up his own religion. He began to doctorate close family members, anything he could do to make people believe him. Basically, as time went on, his teaching slowly spread. Most recruits who were enticed by Arvin's promise that they'd receive more knowledge of God's will than was available to others. What seemed like an innocent activity in self-improvement gradually turned into association with unusual and perverse expectations and shocking commitments. So he ends up, after several years, he ends up forming this kingdom in a subdivision called Northwood in North Ogden. I believe now it's called Ronclair. or it used to be called Ronclair. I don't know the exact place of
There
it.
goes the property value.
That property value is already gone.
Oh, I don't
It
know.
already happened.
It's already gone. So here's the funny thing. So what he would do with this, once he got this subdivision, there was only one entrance way into the subdivision. One way in, one way out. And since he was a esteemed gardener and with all this stuff, so all the houses in there were perfect. Like
The first HOA.
pretty much. Like the gardening on there was great. The landscaping was like perfectly done. And that's kind of how people got enticed with the neighborhood. So it goes on, a little story about a couple who just moved into the neighborhood. So it says one young Latter-day Saint couple living in the neighborhood came perilously close to being seduced by the group. Husband comes out, says they were so nice. We were newly married and we were both working. Our house had just been built and had no landscaping at the time. One of the cult members lived next door and asked if we would like to some help putting in our yard. So of course they said, sure, absolutely, we'll take some help. They come home from work one day and literally grass, bushes, trees, everything was beautifully arranged in our yard.
I was
I
gonna
got a
say,
proposition for you.
Tony,
I'm joining a cult.
I made the mistake of paying for it. Don't make that mistake.
Join the cult.
So they come home, everything's all beautifully aligned. And they were like, we felt bad. And they kept saying, like, is there anything we can do? And they're like, absolutely not, And so from there, it turned into, the guy next door, he said, we prayed about each plant and where God wanted it planted. And so the guy's like, okay, we thought a little bit weird, but we accepted it and thanked him. From there, they were invited to dinners and scripture study nights with the neighbor. It all seemed very neighborly to them. One evening, the discussion turned to preparedness, storing food and other essential needs in case of emergency. The couple was trying to build their own food storage, and as soon as the neighbor heard about it, he ran to Arvin and told them that they were prime candidates for the group. The next thing they knew, Arvin joined those evening scripture studies and began teaching his doctrine to them. Basically, he goes on with lectures, telling them, how convoluted, how he was excommunicated from the LDS Church. Convoluted story, how it wasn't fair, shouldn't have been excommunicated, all this stuff. And then he said it's his refusal to discontinue teachings his doctrine called the guidance of the Holy Spirit, in which he received revelation from God regarding spiritual things. They described Arvin's manipulation. He could teach 1,000 truths and sneak in one big lie without you even realizing it. So one of those type of guys that you'd hear everything and you're like, oh, yeah, that's great. Over time, the young couple became very close to the group. The members of the cult donated time and money to finish their basement, even stocked it with 3 years' worth of food storage.
Holy crap.
The only agreement was that the couple would share their storage items with the rest of the group when times get hard. So the more obligated the couple felt for the favors they were receiving, the more concerned they became about getting too involved in the group. One night, the young wife she actually ended up in the hospital emergency room with agony one night because of bleeding ulcers. She just didn't know what to do. But while she was there, hospitalized, she actually received a visit from a few of the cult women who began stealing medicines and supplies while the hospital staff wasn't looking. When she questioned them about it, as flabbergasted as she was, they just looked at her and said, "You're sick because God wants us to take these items."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So she, of course, just pretended, okay, like this didn't happen. Let's just go home. So after that, a few months later, Arvin and the 3 women from the cult came to the young couple's home. Arvin told the wife that she was one of the 7 women chosen in the pre-earth life who presented a plan regarding the exclusive organization he called Sisters Councils. So he's telling this wife, hey, by the way, you were pre-chosen for this sister council. And so she's like, oh, okay. Basically, he explains that each man in the group was given a sister counsel consisting of several wives. Polygamy. One of the women from the cult told the wife that she had many conversations with ancient prophets from the scriptures about sister counsels. She astonishingly maintained that a prophet rode in her car with her one night, even driving the vehicle for a while. As the couple quietly listened, it became apparent to Arvin that they were not fully invested. And so he pulled out the big guns and basically said this young lady's mom had actually just passed away about a couple years prior. And he goes, hey, your mother wants me to tell you how happy and excited she is that her daughter is accepting the doctrine of sister counsels. So,
Turd.
yeah.
What a turd.
Oh, yeah.
I
So,
mean, so far I'm not seeing any downsides.
3 years worth of food, free
Nice yard.
landscaping.
right, nice yard, brand new
Multiple
house.
wives. Like, this is sounding
Yeah.
pretty good.
You're selling Austin
One's
here.
enough. One's enough.
Well, I mean, maybe it might get better from here. I don't know. He goes with that. Arvin shocked the couple by explaining his abhorrent training program.
What
Called-
does abhorrent mean?
Abhorrent.
It's like
Abhorrent.
terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Stupid. Not good. Called the sexual way of life, in which the women were taught deviant sexual practices. He used pictures of softcore and then hardcore pornography to teach the principles. He confided in the husband that he had personally spent more than $40,000 in pornographic material when he authorized his instructional manuals
Did you say $40,000?
in pornographic
Holy-
Where's he
material.
getting his money from?
Again, no downsides. I'm just kidding. All jokes.
See?
Jokes.
See? Well, I mean, here you go.
Hey, wait. So aberrant means inspiring disgust and loathing or repugnant.
Okay.
Okay.
Repugnant. That's a good one.
He continues on with the husband and he says, you would be given the opportunity to have your own sister counsel. He gave him strategies on how they would get the recruits. They would basically call it finding the thread. He explained that each man would be given a sister counsel, would have a common thread identifying the woman he would choose to recruit. Arvin's common thread was women's intimates. He would take one of his wives into a department store and watch women look through lingerie. When he targeted a woman looking at skimpy items, he would send the wife over to strike up a friendship. If all went well as planned, they would go to dinner and give some cult propaganda. Another male cult member had a sister counsel that he used common thread was high heels. Women who wore very high heels were his target.
Kinks.
Yeah, this is exactly what it is, sexual kinks. Single and divorced women working in low-income jobs were also targeted, as well as strippers and exotic dancers.
Holy crap.
This sounds like a party.
Frat house.
They can't weigh more than 120. And
So,
This is a Playboy Mansion. What is this?
right?
right.
You got Hugh Hefner over here recruiting people to North Ogden.
They're all blonde.
You would have joined immediately.
I mean, there'd been a line out the door, man. I wouldn't have been the only one. Just kidding.
So, they go on to
I'd
say,
see you there, you you dirty bastard.
You ever crapped in a bottle?
Oh,
Wait, hold on.
Never mind.
hey,
Go.
yeah, what?
I'm not, you can't just say
Did
random
you say
shit.
crapped in a bottle?
You can't just say random stuff and then
I
leave
do
it.
that.
I love
Kind of
how
bottle.
that
Kind of
moment.
bottle
Like,
we
yeah,
talking
wait,
Like
what?
a 20-ounce bottle. You ever crapped in a 20-ounce bottle?
Gosh.
No.
It's not big enough.
What are you talking about?
Takes talent.
I don't know.
Takes some talent.
I don't think anyone knows.
I don't even know.
Oh. Welcome to Chris's brain.
Wow.
His brain opened up for
20
just a
ounce
sec.
bottle?
Dude, it reminds me. It
Ever
reminds me
crapped
of.
in a
Reminds me of White Chicks. You know the two cops.
Anybody can pee in a
And
bottle.
one of the cops will always ask a question like, who would you do between so and so and Rosie O'Donnell? But they both have yeast infections or something gross, right? He'd propose the question, and then his partner would answer, and he'd be like, "You're disgusting."
Oh yeah,
He'd lose no matter how he answered the question.
I remember.
He
that
reminds
one.
me of the black guy on New Girl. What's his name? Winston?
Winston.
Oh, Winston.
It's like, what are you saying?
How would you do it though?
Put it up the butt and go for it.
What is it able to do with anything?
I mean, is it
I
threaded?
love it,
I
Chris.
mean-
You know what? Sometimes
Just-
we just need to be yanked in a different direction.
Just screw it in there and then just go for it.
Yeah,
Oh
you'd
my
have,
gosh.
You'd have an air seal though. I mean,
Oh, that's true. It'd be very
Or would it
difficult.
just drop out?
I'd have
at
to
that
take some
point?
talent, man.
What are we talking
I don't know,
about?
but I'm here for it. Sure.
Oh my
Men
god.
try.
Mason jars.
Anybody can pee in one. Can you crap in one?
See how small you can go in the bottle opening.
The problem is if it comes out too big, the sphincter's going to open and you've lost all your grip.
You get a
Are we
1
talking
liter-
like a beer bottle type bottle?
I don't know, 20-ounce Coke. Oh,
Mexican
1 liter would
or-
be easier.
One
One
there,
liter.
the
would be-
hole's bigger.
Yeah, you couldn't get that in there though.
Nope. It's a
You'd have
wide
to
mouth-
start
it's
with
wide
like a
mouth.
Sobe or what are those other?
Are you talking about like prepping?
Well, having a bigger hole to aim for.
What distance would you need?
I don't know.
All right, I'm
My
steering
gosh.
this back to Zach.
Okay, go ahead.
Zach, take the reins.
Thank you.
I don't know
I was
where
so
this
intrigued.
went. I think we tried going one way and it.
I'm just still curious. Where did that come from?
I told you sometimes I gotta think about what I say, and it doesn't happen sometimes.
Like
Anyways.
where you were at in the story,
know.
just
Had
suddenly.
nothing.
Have you ever tried to crap in a bottle? I was expecting some kind of analogy.
That might
or
be
something
somebody's kink. I don't know.
It might be actually.
Oh my goodness.
Could you crap in a bottle?
Go.
Anyways.
Just go.
Tony's done.
So once that was all explained to this couple, they decided, like, honestly, so they're in this house, what, maybe a year?
Mark it. That's going to be a short. I don't care.
That'll be a good short.
Someone in the comments, please. Timestamp it. Let us know. I need to make that a short.
My family's so proud.
People, anyone tuning in is going to be like,
Like, what the hell?
Like
right.
there's squirrel moments and then there's Chris
There's
moments.
Chris moments. That's bad Chris moment.
oh, that was hilarious. All right. I'm
All
sorry,
right.
Zach.
So, once that's all said and done, the couple decides, like, hey, this isn't for us. They're creeped out. And so they actually put the house up for sale. And by no shocker, this cult actually buys their house, pays them well over what the house was worth.
Holy hell.
And
Again,
basically,
no downsides.
right?
Not one yet.
Right? Again,
Go in,
looking,
get some free landscape, food, quick orgy, and then boom, make an equity off your home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't even have to do the orgy.
No, they didn't
Not
have to do
yet.
any of that. Looking back on it, though, they basically claimed Arvin as a wolf in sheep's clothing. So the reason I tell you that story, and this is no joke, that was my parents.
What?
Yeah.
What?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was my parents.
Your parents got all that for free?
Yeah, that was my parents.
Nice.
No freaking way.
Yeah, that was my parents. That
Get
whole
out.
section of talking like the husband and everything, that was my mom and dad. Yeah. They had just newly married, bought this house. My dad said it was the weirdest thing. He said there was one day he came home and he pulled in the driveway and Arvin was out in his lawn, planted a brand new tree. And he'd go out and be like, Arvin, what's up, man? He goes, what are you doing? He goes, hey, just got this tree, wanted to give it to you. What do I owe you? You owe me nothing. My
Dude,
dad,
you should have had your dad on this pod.
I know. I know. He said the hardest thing about it is he literally lost his. So my dad lost his dad when he was like 16 years old, 14 years old, something like that. He said the hardest thing is the way Arvin talked and the way that he presented himself, literally presented himself as a father figure.
How old was Arvin at this point?
50s.
Okay.
This is
50s,
crazy.
because this would have been,
Oh my gosh.
So had he talked to you about this pre-book?
yeah,
Like this is
So this is stuff you've known.
Yeah.
For how long?
a couple of years, not long. I didn't know a lot of this happened.
What made him bring it up? Hey,
Zach-
children,
Zach
let me tell
just
you
got-
about the cult we almost joined.
No,
Zach
I
getting his yard landscaped. You want to know how you could get this done a lot cheaper?
I'll tell you right now. No, I think we were just having, it was a family discussion. Like we were just Sunday dinner and we were just all talking about it.
Oh my god.
And he had just brought up the fact. He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Colt guy." He goes, "This guy was bad news."
Dude.
And this
So-
was this
Can we
before
have-
he was a cop?
Yes. Yeah.
Dude.
He was a cop at this point.
I think he had just gotten into it. He hasn't
Into
either
the
that or
academy.
something like that. He was either newly fresh or he hadn't just started yet.
What? So
But-
hold on. Is your dad retired? Mm-hmm. Okay. Would he be open to coming on the pod?
Probably, yeah, probably.
Because here's the thing. We could have him be our very first special guest. And with us going over the topic, we could have our own questions to ask him, as well as anyone tuning in and listening. Like we could even try out the voicemail thing, like where they could dial in, leave us a voicemail. We'll play.
Ask a cop.
Yeah, dude. We could have 2 episodes. One where he tells us this, and then
Yeah.
one where it's like literally we ask him about being a cop.
Yeah.
That would be great. Like a 2-parter.
Yeah.
Like one specifically about this, and then just any cop questions or things. That'd be so
Ask
cool.
him.
I'll
be-
ask him. I'm sure
And
he'd
in,
be down
and in
for
the
it.
meantime, you listening right now, if you have any questions while while Zach's doing this, leave them down below.
Yeah, jot them down, leave them below.
That would be so fun.
The cool thing is, so my mom pointed out in here,
Man, my mind is
So-
blown right now. This is crazy.
it'll be hard to show on there, but that is their house.
Get out of town.
That is beautiful landscaping.
The top one?
Yeah,
Which
that
one?
top one.
On the left or right?
Top left? Top left?
Yeah,
That very first one.
or top.
Top right?
Top.
This one with the
Nope,
fence?
nope, the other one.
Yeah,
Yep,
top
it is
left.
Top
Yep,
left.
Yep, yep.
Oh, look what it got turned into.
What do you mean?
Oh yeah, the name on it.
No, let me see.
What do you mean?
Look at the name of the thing.
No.
Let me see.
What is it?
The children's dormitory.
Yeah,
Gross.
They turned the house into children's house.
So your that's what they turned your parents' house into?
Oh, that just made me sick reading that.
So, my dad explained that it was very.
I could kill somebody. I really
Right?
think I could.
I
Right?
think I could.
Yeah.
So he explained that it was a very intricate thing. So eventually, what had happened is they took over roughly about 10 homes in the area. What they do is, if people unknown were driving into the area, there would be one house like as a watcher house, and they'd flip on a light, and that light would say, "Hey, there's someone here who's not supposed to be here." Then they'd start watching and going from there. So wouldn't really do anything, but
It's like a warning sign.
it was a warning, like, "Hey, someone's here that's not supposed to be here."
Interesting.
Yeah.
So was it
So-
like a neighborhood street that they took over, or was it like
Yep.
a block?
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
it said earlier it was like a dead end.
Yeah.
Like a,
Like a cul-de-sac?
Yeah, cul-de-sac type thing.
More like a cul-de-sac.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
So it goes on to define. So one of the people in here defined what the cult was about. So basically, it was 3 elements of the cult that they used to define it. Element number 1, Zion is a people who are pure in heart and who are totally committed to doing God's will.
False.
They have a desire to constantly change their lives to even higher levels of righteous living, and they commune personally with God.
False.
Number 2, Zion is a place of order, cleanliness, and beauty. Their homes are pleasant, orderly, and clean. Their yards and gardens are well maintained, beautiful, and productive. And lastly, element number 3, Zion is a condition where there is peace, unity, and love. So hence the reason, like, that was the biggest thing my dad could say. He's very much into landscaping, loves all that stuff. He said you would drive down there and he's like, beautiful everywhere. And that was Arvin's expertise. He did the same thing all throughout Ogden. Like, everybody knew his name. Like, amazing.
It's like Pleasantville. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's creepy is you said peace, unity, and love.
Place of order, peace, unity, and love. Yeah.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's like an EDM saying where it's like plur. Peace, love, unity, and is it respect? Either way, it's kind of creepy that's like their thing. Very similar. Yeah, peace, love, unity, and respect, and is a state of principles central to rave culture.
Rave culture.
Yeah, and it get this, it originated in the early 1990s. Interesting.
Crazy.
Because you said this ended in 1990.
1991. Yeah.
Weird.
What a coinky dinky.
So to kind of explain what the sister councils were, basically it is so it goes into deep dive on here, but it's basically a thing where you got the husband, he gets his wives, and basically he controls everything that they do.
And it's 7, right? Was that the number? Is that you get 7?
No, you can have as many as you want.
I thought you were saying
it was
you've
said-
been chosen to be.
No, it said I think Arvin had up to about 22.
Geez.
Oh, wow.
So, at one point, so that girl at the very first, Erin, so she's the one that actually came forward over everything. She went to the police about everything. Because,
She's the one who came and said, "Hey."
yeah. So
I'm gonna
she actually, she said it was very sad. So she was trying to get out of a bad marriage, and this was the first thing that she felt she could turn to that would actually save her, but ended up being not what she wanted. And so she had, once she saw the full in depth of everything, she had to turn them over. But there was at one point where Arvin explained everything to her and went into her bedroom, basically let her know of everything, and then sent in one of his wives. She was named Carla, who she had left her husband and kid to go join this cult, and ended up becoming his number 2, basically, in everything. And he went into the room and basically was like, this is what we do. We have the spiritual wives, all this stuff. You find your perfect person. And then he leaves, and Carla asks her, like, hey, who do you think that you're supposed to be with? And she was caught off guard, and she goes, Arvin. And she goes, oh, yes. You were listening to the right spirit. You and Arvin are supposed to be spiritual husband and wife. So a few minutes later, Arvin comes back in and basically starts to sexually assault her. Right in there, next to his number 2, as this woman does the same thing. And this was Arvin's way of thinking was, you're a woman, I tell you what to do, you do it. And basically, there was a bunch of lesbian acts as well. That was his biggest thing as well. Sit back and watch. You guys train them how to do things. So, it said here, yeah, so right here, according to Erin, she was considered one of approximately 18 of Arvin's spiritual wives. This is the part where it gets heavy, but this is as heavy as they'll go. I won't go into any other depth. She was able to name and give the approximate age of each that she counted. 9 were over the age of 20. 5 were between the ages of 12 and 19.
Ugh.
And incredibly, 4 were under the age of 12.
Oh, my gosh.
So, and that's where she had the issue. That she's like, we can't do this.
That's
we're
where
done.
she had the issue.
I'm going to freaking murder him. I'm going to dig up his grave and I'll kill him again.
Cut it off and make him choke on
We don't have an actual bone.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
it. He'll
Yeah.
still choke.
Just wad it up.
So,
Like a sock is
Yeah.
so what they ended up doing at this point, so she goes in, talks to the cops, or talks to this Mike King, who was a detective at the time, basically lets him know everything that's going on. They had, like, I believe 3 days discussion with her about everything. They needed to get actual proof before they could really get, because you're going off of one person's
Right.
words, so you really can't, especially when he mentions a lot of times in the book, they always knew about this place. There was always like myths and all that stuff, like, oh, this place exists, but there was never actual proof, like living proof. So what he did is his number 2, that lady, he called up her ex-husband and was like, hey, listen, like, let's talk to me. And he goes, okay, yeah. So he talks to him about everything. This guy was remarried, all this stuff. And so he brings his new wife in, and they're like, yeah, she explained this about Arvin. He's this way, like very much into this, like going over the minute details and stuff. So he decided to actually get a private PI in there. So he hires this lady who's a private PI, sets her up as a lingerie specialist who does sex parties, ends up delving her way into it. And she said, she actually recollected, and she said it was the weirdest thing. She goes, I remember I pulled up into the neighborhood, and immediately as I pulled up and went to get out of my car, he was like right there next to my car. Opened up the door, like scared the crap out of her. And
Arvin?
yeah, Arvin was. And she had to play the words like, hey, this is when he goes, oh, great, all this stuff. And so she ends up getting involved into the cult a little bit. She works her way in. She starts seeing all the things. She starts recording things and getting proof. So at that point, once they have the proof, they get a thing for a no-knock. And this was September of 91, if I remember right. So they go in for the no-knock, and they actually went through all these homes, gathered up all the people. Unfortunately, Arvin had already left.
Oh my God.
He'd
He
gone.
knew it was coming?
He knew it was coming somehow. And this is the family's claim that this was his spiritual guidance, which made him look even more like a prophet, because he leaves the day before and then all these cops show up. They end up arresting a bunch of the people. They get the kids.
Hold on. How many members were there at this time?
There was over 100.
Holy crap, dude.
Yeah.
And how long has this been going on?
10 years. 10 years. This cult had been formed and been going on. 10, 11 years. Something like
So was this? I'm getting a lot of the same vibes as Justin and I watched the Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey. Did you guys ever watch that docuseries
that one's
No.
gross too.
on
about the
on
FLDS.
Netflix? It's about the FLDS.
Oh, yeah,
cult
yeah. I
down
mean-
in South Utah.
Yeah.
And same thing is like that went on for a long time. And a lot of the times, some of the wives were children of the, you know what I mean?
Born
Yeah.
Jets.
They're born into it.
They were born into it and then
Uh-huh.
became a wife. And so
Uh-huh.
it's just sickening.
Set up, ready to go. And that's exactly what would happen here is some of the kids. They were bred into it and had no clue. And there you go. This is what we believe in, and this is what we do. So, but they get everything all taken care of. They get the kids out. They get them all off to the right. I can't remember.
Social
the name. Yeah,
services.
thank you. And about 2 days later, they get a call from Cedar City Police Department that Arvin had actually turned himself in. And
Weird.
so they hurry and jump in. It's kind of funny. He explains the story. They jump in a yellow Camaro, and they end up like it was one of the, if I remember right, if I read it right, they claimed it from like a drug bust, and they needed a fast vehicle to get down there, and so they just jumped in, him and his partner. They drove down there. They ended up calling UHP on their way down and said, "Hey, if you see this vehicle driving
They saw the opportunity
Do
for
not.
a joyride
Uh-huh.
and they took
They
it.
said, "Do not stop us. We're going."
They
So-
what's that word where the guy jumps and slides across the hood?
I don't.
Dukes of Hazzard.
They
Yeah,
Dukes of
no,
Hazzard
they-
it, baby.
Oh, they did. And he explains that. He's like, dude, we took off and we just drove. And they get down there and they get in front of Arvin. And they were like, hey, you're being arrested for this. They read him all the Miranda rights, all that stuff. And Arvin goes, well, I think I need my lawyer. And so he goes, okay, great. So they shove him in the back of the Camaro. He's chained up on his feet, all that stuff. And on their way back, they decided to do a ploy to Arvin to play his own game against him. So they actually started talking very spiritually to him. And at one point, Arvin interrupted him and was like, no, you need to start doing this. Like, you guys are talking all about the wrong thing. He goes, oh, you can't talk to us though because you requested a lawyer. He goes, no, this has nothing to do with what I'm being charged for. This is all about religion. Like, I want to talk to you about that. So they conduct this whole thing and they act like they're best friends and all this stuff. And on the way back, they decide to stop at a diner for dinner. And they asked Arvin, like, hey, are you going to be okay if we go in? Like, will you cause a scene? He goes, absolutely not. So they unshackle him at the feet. They put a coat over his hands, basically go in. They sit down, have dinner. And on the way back, he randomly just goes, you know what, I think I want to fire my lawyer. I think I want to talk. And when Mike went back and asked him, he was like, why did you want to talk to me at that point? He goes, because you actually treated me like a human being. And so he's like, at that point, I knew I needed to confess. I knew what I was doing. So he did. They spent like 3 hours that night. He confessed everything.
And then they killed him.
And that's what should have happened.
And he went missing.
That's what should have happened. No, he eventually, basically, they asked him to go forward and talk to all the cult people, see if they can't then get them to go forward. He tried. He did everything he could to get them to come forward. Some of them did. Some of them didn't. Eventually, they got everybody who needed to be processed.
Like prosecuted.
Yeah, prosecuted, all that stuff. So it says in here, now that the perpetrators were booked into jail, our focus shifted to prosecuting all of them. Let's see. So we had arrested and charged a self-proclaimed leader, 1 adult male cult member, and 9 adult female members of the cult, all with child sexual abuse crimes. Besides Arvin's, we were aware of at least 2 additional sister councils. The adult male cult member who was charged was the head of one of the sister councils. Other male in charge of the other sister council was not charged with crimes because no children came forth with allegations against him. Additionally, we charged the 2 men outside the group for serious felony child sexual assaults. The biggest thing that, and this is where I'll give whatever props you want to Arvin and these people, is when they went forward with it and all the prosecution, they basically told them, we need you to confess what you did, so that way these kids do not need to get up on stand and be a witness. And he said, okay, you're right. These kids they've been through enough. We don't need to get them on the stand.
That's sickening knowing that he knows he did wrong.
Right.
And he's willing to admit that.
Right?
That's the worst part.
Right?
I mean, kind of, but I mean,
So did it stemmed from his aunt, right?
Yeah.
So that's why this is such a heinous thing, is because one thing like that can ruin so many
Yeah.
people's lives.
Yeah. Makes you think it's okay because he found pleasure in it. Aunt raped him. He found pleasure in it. Thought
But
it
he's
was
a
okay.
kid. You're malleable as a child.
Exactly.
Freaked up.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm trying to be nice.
You're good.
I'm being.
oh,
You're good.
fudge biscuits.
We're PG-13. You're allowed one.
So,
Fucker.
He saw the opportunity and he ran.
I got permission.
there it is.
I got permission.
You're like, what's his name, son? Chris Pratt.
Oh yeah.
So funny.
So,
Fish is a pussy. Have you seen that?
yes. You think that's all it is, and then his son just drops the F word.
I'm gonna swear.
Right? Okay, go ahead and swear. It's okay. So eventually, Carla, his number 2, was convicted of sexual exploitation of a child, aggravated sexual abuse of a child, and sodomy of a child.
Oh.
Each charge held a minimum mandatory sentence of 5 years to life. Arvin was found guilty of 2 counts of sodomy of a child and 2 counts of sexual abuse of a child. As he stood before the judge to be sentenced, Arvin surprised the court with one more request. While sitting at the defense table, he actually asked Mike to come stand up next to him, thinking that it would give him props that, hey, I've been working with everybody and get a lighter sentence and everything. And the judge turned around. A mandatory sentence on that was 10 to life. Judge ended up giving him 20 to life. So said it's absolutely despicable what you've done, and this is what you're getting. So it says, in all, after everything was all said and done, there were an astounding 746 counts of sexual crimes against the children.
How many?
746. Arvin was responsible for 390 of those sexual assaults. Carla faced 113. The remaining 8 women in the sister council were responsible for 226. And the 2 non-cult men were responsible for 17. They had planned to charge additional cult members, both women and men, with additional sexual abuse charges, but the court system was taking too long. After 2 years, we chose to stop the prosecutions in order to spare the children from further trauma.
Golly, man.
So eventually, Arvin did actually die in prison. August 10th, 2009. After serving her sentence, Carla, she moved to a rural community and lives near 3 other former Zion Society cult members. 4 cult members are known to have joined other polygamous groups. The remaining cult members have moved off the radar screen. Their whereabouts are unknown.
Ugh, nah.
Man, that's crazy that it still like follows them. Like
Yeah.
they still kind of chase that life.
Yeah, especially after
I feel like-
going through all that.
I feel like if people like this serve their sentence and move on, they should almost be on a lifetime probation.
Well, that's why I
Where-
think like
Yeah.
they know where Carla's at. They know where the other ones are at.
It's a cancer,
Like,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It'll keep spreading.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
gonna want to go back to it again.
That's why I'm okay with
So-
the death penalty.
Exactly.
For real.
Exactly,
Yeah.
especially for stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Jeez.
so just to kind of finish it off, like, he has some quotes in here by some of the kids and stuff that were a part of it, and it's just, and this is what you were talking about, like the malleable things and stuff. And it basically says we would wake up at 7:30 a.m., make beds, bathe, comb hair, eat breakfast, do housework, meditate, study scriptures, sew, garden, clean again, bathe again, and go to bed at 9:30. Another one, her name was Dawn, who was age 10 at the time. She said she became a perfectionist out of fear. I always fearful of making a mistake. I never felt I was good enough. When I was punished, I had to sit still for a half an hour and say nothing. I could not move except for my eyeballs. Another one in here who was 11 at the time said, my days were not fun. I was being trained to be spiritual wife of all time. I was always being reprimanded for being too prideful. Another one said, we were told we would go to hell if we weren't perfect. In reality, we were already living in hell. Another one says, we had to wear dresses or skirts all the time unless we were working in the yard. We were all assigned to a color to wear. Hers was peach. I'd look in the closet and ask myself, what should I wear? I asked myself, should I wear the peach dress or the peach dress or maybe the peach dress? To this day, I hate the color peach.
As you should.
Yeah.
So the other one says, our clothes had to be suggestive in style, whether it was tight skirts or low-cut blouses. Our gardening shorts were very short. Another one says, children were taken to a shooting range and taught to shoot and defend their homes for the end of the world. Another
Too
one
bad one of the kids didn't just snap and
Right?
kill them all. Like if they were taught how to use a gun.
You're right.
So no one said the adults were obsessed with the book, The Hiding Place. They had hidden rooms built in the houses that were soundproof. We were hidden in them when social services came around.
Oh my gosh.
They were given a specific weight we were to maintain. We were weighed daily, and if it was recorded on a chart, Carla and the other women would humiliate us in front of the others if we weighed too much. They were also told that God couldn't reach them through layers of fat, and that I wouldn't be wanted in a sister council
Jeez.
until I lost
What?
weight.
Holy crap.
Um,
Oh my gosh, man.
They were taken on car rides to the country late at night, where they had to do a striptease dance in a car, headlights, and then we would get ice cream for our reward. This one said, Arvin took me for rides, took me to a little mountain, said he built it. He took
Built
me
the mountain?
Yeah, built the mountain. Took me to a water tower at the business depot,
I know
which
where
if
that
you've
is.
been in the BDO, you know exactly where the water
And
tower
little
is.
mountains clear at the bottom of 12th Street.
Oh, yep. So, and then
Out west?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And he told me he built that too.
The 12th Street in Ogden.
Says to a 6-year-old girl with no steady father figure, he was mighty and I believed him. Children were taken to the doctor for strep throat and were prescribed antibiotics, but they were never given the meds. The group stored them. After being seen by a doctor, members would steal as many medical supplies as they could, hide in their bags and clothing. Teenage girls were required to visit the county health department using a fake name to get birth control pills.
So why weren't they given the antibiotics for their strep throat?
So they could hoard them.
Yeah, they could hoard them
But what I mean
for end of days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, end of day stuff. So when they really needed them. And then lastly, one of yours said, we would be sent to a dark room with a pencil and paper. We were told to communicate with dead people and write down what they told us. We would ultimately make up people and things to write down to prove we connected with them. Arvin told us God was telling him that we were thinking, and if we had done anything wrong, it was a frightening mind game. So
They're grooming them. They're
yeah.
it's just a giant grooming scene.
Yeah.
I wonder where these, I mean, children then, adult now, where they're at these days and how they're doing.
I know.
Yeah, because they'd be our age.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Give or
40.
take a few years. Yeah.
That's
So,
crazy, man.
yeah, and I mean, it just, and it only gets worse from there. Like, yeah, there's one last quote. This one, I mean, do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go for it.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
Okay.
Don't
I
make
feel
me
like
question it.
We're already here.
So basically,
We don't know.
Arvin had told them that we were told we couldn't go to heaven unless we had sex with Arvin,
Oh, gosh.
and that they were told that that's how he bonded with young girls.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
So-
there's a lot of parody between everything you're saying and then that same documentary about the FLDS, that Keep
Yeah.
Sweet, Pray, and Obey. Very creepy cult, man. Just like super creepy stuff.
It just makes you wonder, like, I mean, we've all heard of like the Manson family and different things like that, and that wasn't that long ago, but it was still before our time. It's just crazy.
Well, and doesn't he still have cult followers to this
Manson?
day,
Uh-huh.
even though he's
Yeah.
behind bars?
No, he's dead.
He's dead.
Oh, he's dead
Yeah.
now.
Long dead.
He died a few years.
I need to.
but I mean, it's just crazy to hear this stuff going on full blown still in our time. Like it's
Yeah.
just
Well, they say he may be a product of that CIA
UK Ultra
MK Ultra.
or MK.
Yeah. Manson, because it's right in the right.
You talking Manson?
Manson.
Really?
Oh,
A product of the MK Ultra?
interesting.
Product of, yep.
Oh, interesting.
Psychedelics, because he would do the same thing to his cult members. Load them up with psychedelics and stuff.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. But I don't, I mean, here's the thing. Cults aside, everything that you're doing, the moment you involve little kids and children,
100%.
like, it's just evil at that point.
Yeah.
And there's nothing good about that place.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
No.
So, small plug too, just for Mike, because he's a really cool guy. He's actually one of my dad's really good friends. My mom's really good friends. He does a podcast as well called
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. He does a podcast as well. I think it's just on YouTube. It's called Profiling Evil. And he does a whole segment on this. He actually had my parents on there.
Oh,
My
nice.
parents were on there, talked
Dang.
about it, everything like that. So, if you want to get on there, if you want to go check out the video, he's got a bunch of stuff that he goes over. It's basically a huge works of all of the cases that he's done, and dives into even more stuff that he wasn't ever a part of. But
we should have him on.
Yeah, we should have him on.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, if you want to go look at it, just look up for the Zion Society with.
Well, he
Profiling
stole our
Evil.
idea. Having your dad on.
I know, I know.
Loser.
I know, loser. But yeah, that was the most insane thing when we got talking about this a few years ago,
That is so crazy.
and my dad had mentioned this, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And then this was, I think, 2 years ago when they did the podcast. 2-3 years ago, my mom was bragging. It'd be 2 years ago because we've only been doing this for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, my mom was bragging. She goes, "Oh, you got your own podcast? Well, we're going on one too." And so, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "What about?" And then so when she brought it up, I was like, "Oh, I remember this story." She goes, "Yeah." And so when I actually heard like what they tried to do to my parents, I was like, "You got to be kidding me." So, but
Ah, gosh, maybe we should. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should have the guy on, Mike King.
Mike King.
Maybe we should have him, or I don't know. We'll have to see who's interested to begin with.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a lot of fun to have them. That'd be a special guest, one or the other.
That would be
cool.
cool.
Anyway,
So, but that's what I got. I know, sorry, heavy topic.
Oh, I mean that
But-
it's crazy. It's always just so crazy
Well-
and fascinating when something
So-
happens so close to home.
Let me even leave you with this. Mike actually said it really well. And it actually, I was like, wow, that's actually really cool. So he put on here, it's the author's notes. He says, some stories are hard to read, let alone write. It doesn't mean they should not be told. He goes,
Yeah.
this book is one of those stories. This memoir chronicles my investigation into a deviant religious cult of child sex abuse. To ignore, avoid, or pretend such events do not occur is not helpful to victims, potential victims, or society in general. Awareness is the first step to healing and protecting victims, and ultimately bringing perpetrators to justice. Extreme detail of this case have been left out. All that is important to know is the events happened.
Yeah.
So, and I actually really like that. Like, it sucks talking about this stuff sometimes, but
You mean history matters?
yeah,
Yeah.
Talking about
Exactly.
history matters.
without knowledge, we're,
Doomed to repeat.
yep,
Weird.
or we won't see things, and exactly, things happen. So,
Man. Thanks for doing the research, man. That was
Yeah.
great. Honestly.
That was
Well
good.
done.
Yeah.
Well, bye.
No, I totally
so-
agree. I believe knowledge is power. I believe
100%.
sharing and conversing about topics like this are very important, not only for just sharing information, but also preventative stuff.
yeah.
So it's
And he goes on later in the book, and that's why I said, like, if you guys are intrigued, like, the book is really gone. I think it's like $10 on Amazon,
oh nice.
but it's a well done book. But he even goes on and he talks about at the very end reconnecting with the 10 victims, and he actually has pictures of them in here and everything like that. And they go on to say, like, how grateful they were for this whole thing, and how good the police were with it, and how they the justice system tried to keep them out as much as possible, but also about the fact that being able to talk about it, because they were like 2 to 3 years after the fact, like, you're pulled from the society that you believe is what you need to do, and then all of a sudden justice comes in and tells you it's wrong, and the only reasons it's wrong is because you're being told it's wrong. So then they had to figure out the next couple of years, like, holy crap, this was wrong and we shouldn't have been doing this. And so, but they were like, it's the talking.
So
it's
they're
the
doing
people
well?
accepting. Yeah,
Good.
yeah, they're all doing good. They're all, as good as you can be and stuff.
We're
But,
right.
yeah,
Lots of therapy.
yeah, I'm sure.
What was
So-
it? What was the name of the podcast one more time?
Profiling Evil.
Profiling Evil.
It's on YouTube only. I've tried to look it up elsewhere. I couldn't really find it. So,
Gotcha.
YouTube only.
Okay.
But
I'll do my best to remember to link it. I'm terrible at remembering.
Send him a
so-
text about it.
he'll still forget.
I'll forget. Well, because this podcast will go up 2 weeks after we've recorded it, so
It's valid.
Yeah,
it's a lot of forgetting in that time frame. So,
true. So, okay. Well, that's all I got. Unless you guys got anything else.
oh man, that was great.
So,
This is officially kicking off spooky season.
Yep.
So
we'll do lighter episodes. I promise.
Fun, spooky.
Yeah,
Fun,
we won't
spooky.
keep them as heavy as this was, but I've been holding on to this for a little while, and I thought this would be a good time to.
That was just a Linkin Park song.
What?
Holding on. Why is everything so heavy?
is that a
You
Linkin-
said it like
That is
I
a
like
Linkin
that,
Park
yeah.
song,
It
yes.
sounded like country the way you sang it.
Sound like Daughtry.
Yeah.
holding on.
Like Doubtry.
That's Doubtry.
That Chris Stapp.
Chris Doubtry.
So, hashtag.
Hashtag.
Doubtry.
What's the hashtag?
History matters.
Yeah.
There we go.
That works.
History
Alright.
matters.
History matters.
Down in
Like
the
it.
comments
So-
again. If we can have a special guest, leave us your questions.
Yeah, start asking questions.
Leave them down below, and actually use what's
You
a
know-
hashtag we can use to search for it? Deceived. We'll just use
Oh.
deceived is kind of a hard word to spell.
Yeah. I before E, E before I.
Except
That's
after C.
ridiculous.
How about hashtag evil?
Hashtag evil with your question.
Yeah.
That way we can find them
And
easily.
you know, worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, I can't get my dad on here or Mike or anything like that, then at least we got the questions. I can always sit down and ask him.
Yeah, that's
I can
true.
spend the
true.
night, sit down and ask him, and we can. I can relay his
reconvene.
answers
Come
from
back
there.
and relay it.
So
Right on, man. I appreciate it.
But-
Thanks for covering this topic, man.
Yeah.
That was cool.
yeah. So we appreciate you guys for hanging in there. Again, any questions, feel free to ask them. But other than that, hope you guys enjoy your evening, morning, rest of your day, wherever you're at. And we love you guys.
All right.
So
Auf Wiedersehen.
there we go. I lost track where I was at.
Everyone
Ciao.
say goodbye.
Ciao.
Love you
Arrivederci.
guys.
Thanks for being part of this.
Auf Wiedersehen.
We all just sit here awkwardly.
Yeah, way to help out.
Are you guys gonna leave or are we gonna leave?
Yeah, let's all leave.